As AI continues to make websites look more and more the same, I've been trying to find creative ways to just spice things up a little bit. And one trick that I've been using on several of my last builds is just giving my buttons a little bit more character. You can see instead of just straight lines around this button, I've added these kind of jagged outlines. And this is pretty simple here in Figma. All I've done is added a stroke to it. And if we go into these settings here, we can change this brush to different variants of this just to give the stroke of the button a little bit of a different look. In this case, I'm going to use this heist design. Now the problem is we need to get this into our actual website, and it's pretty simple to do, but there's a little trick you need to know in order to make it work right. So let me show you exactly how we're going to do this. The first thing I'm going to do is just duplicate this button, and I'm going to get rid of the text inside of it so we just have the shape here. Now with that shape selected, I'm just going to go to my export settings. I'm going to change this to an SVG, and I'm just going to go ahead and save this. So we'll call this button shape. Go ahead and save those changes, and now we can hop over into WordPress. So here inside GenerateBlocks, I'm just going to add a button block to my page, and we'll just go in here and say plan your trip. I think that's something like what my button said on the Figma file. We'll go ahead and give it a class. We're going to call this fun button just for fun. Go ahead and create that. And I'm going to move all the default button styles over to the local block. That way we can override everything a little bit easier. Now in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of the background color since we're going to be filling this in with our background shape. We'll leave the typography on white even though we can't see it right now. And we'll just leave some of those default spacing values. I do want to hop over into the hover because you can see when I hover on top of this, it's actually changing to that blue color in the background. So we'll go in here and we'll just get rid of that fill as well. And now since we can't see the text, we really can't see anything, but now we're not getting that blue color on hover. So I'm going to go back to my main selector here. We're going to go under backgrounds and we'll go ahead and upload that shape that I created in Figma. That was our button shape here. And we'll go ahead and add it to the page. And now we can see we have a little bit of that shape, but it's actually being cut off on the edges. And what you need to do is go in here to the size. I'm going to change this to a custom value, and we're going to set this to 100% and 100%. Now, this particular button looks pretty good because the proportions of this button line up well, but actually when I select it, you can see that the color isn't actually going to the edge of the button. And if we duplicated this button and change this one to learn more, you can see that the shape in the background is staying proportionate to how we built it in Figma, and it's not actually morphing to the button size we need. To fix that, we actually need to change something in our SVG file. So here's that button shape I exported from Figma. I'm going to right click that and I'm just going to open it up in a text editor. Now we'll see if we can zoom into this a little bit just to make it easier to see on the screen. And I'm going to go into this first SVG element here. And just before that closing bracket, I'm going to write preserve aspect ratio equals quote none. We'll go ahead and save those changes again. And just so things don't get funky inside WordPress, I'm going to go ahead and rename this to button shape 2 because I have zero creativity. And we'll go back in here to one of our buttons, click on that class, and I'm going to replace this original image we had with the button shape 2. Go in here and select that. Go ahead and add it to our page. And now you can see both of these shapes are filling up the bounding box here. So that's true whether we have a really short button, like if I change this to the word go, it's still going to fill that shape. Or if I change this to something really long, you can see that same shape is filling up the background there. Now, technically it is stretching out that SVG, and in a lot of cases you wouldn't want that. And that's why the preserve aspect ratio by default doesn't allow you to stretch things disproportionately. But in a case like this is a fairly organic shape and I'm not really worried about it getting stretched out. So here we have a little bit more fun and creativity in our buttons. It's not something that's going to really stand out, but if you had a brand that had this aesthetic, doing something like this is going to help tie in that branding all throughout the website, even here in something like buttons. Now, one drawback to doing this method is it's hard to recolor what the button's going to be on hover since you've built that into the SVG itself. So there are a couple ways you can get around that. One would be just doing a hover effect where maybe your button lifts when you hover on it. But if you're dead set on changing the color, one easy way to do that is to select your button, and I'm on my class and in the hover state. And we can go down here to the effects panel. Under that, I'm going to choose filter. We're going to change this to contrast, and maybe I'll bump it up to something like 120%. Now when I hover on top of it, you can see the buttons getting a little bit brighter, and it's just using that effect to do that rather than changing the hex value of the color. Now for this particular one, contrast worked well, but you can go in here and play around with different effects based on what colors you're using. It might be brightness that works better for you, or hue rotation. You could even do something where you change the opacity, have it slightly lower by default, and then bump it up to 100% on hover. There are lots of ways around this where you can still have the color changing effect when you hover on top of it. I've been experimenting with this on things like buttons like you saw in this video today, but also other items like pills or shapes in the background or even borders around images. There's a lot of different ways you can use this technique to kind of stretch out your SVGs and just give your website a little bit more character. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. And if you want to make sure to catch the next one, hit subscribe and we'll see you then.